Chilled crypto lo-fi. Still on the same album from earlier. Chill hot music, lo-fi hip hop, and lo-fi sleep chill and study 2021. Welcome back to Build Theory. We're picking up on that Ice Rad controller from earlier. She's a real Sunday blast. No, I'm not sorry. Hello, K Parfait. How I've missed you. Let's get in the bowl. Yes, this character is actually one that was kind of originally built for Richty mothership raids, and we're really picking up. She was at the door of the tank, still going. She was at the door of that little cave, so let's haul her out and just hope that I don't get any embarrassing or bewildering or crazy private messages while I actually have the chat window unobscured. Now, the reason why the chat window is unobscured is a number of players routinely ask the question, well, how do I respec my powers? And back on the live server being the Paragon Studios and Cryptic servers, there weren't really a whole lot of ways to respecify a character. And have the chat window up because one of them is, well, pretty easy and can be done from anywhere providing you have a respecification. I'm just going to be cute for the moment and slide this window to the side so we can keep an eye on what's going on with our little farming tank over there. Yes, I do a lot of passive farming. This is one of the ways that I'm able to afford in game to make the various builds that you can make. And we'll actually start by uh, going through how respecifications, how players returning to the game, returning to City of Heroes, or absolutely new players if they are reading Paragon Wiki or they're reading the Homecoming forums, how most likely they're going to be told they need to do a respecification. And most will start with you need to go see Jack Wolf. And most players will remember Jack Wolf was probably here in the Atlas Park building. He is no longer here. Jack Wolf has been moved, and you can now find him over here. And since I've got a respecification, just clicking on Jag brings up the respecification window. Now, if you are a villain, there's a different place that you can go to do respecifications. And we'll quickly go grab a tunnel, and we'll see if we can very quickly find the particular character that we're looking for on villain side. And I think we'll go to Nerva, because I'm pretty sure the contact's still at Nerva. May have been moved. Part of the general cleanup. And I want to look for, there's the Arbiter. Okay, there's the Arbiter, and somewhere around the Arbiter, there's the Quartermaster. Returning players might be familiar with, there was a respecification guy hanging out here in front of the Noodle House, and he is no longer there. And a quick look around, he's not being very apparent within this general location. And since I didn't look this up before. We'll actually go look it up now, just as a reference. And we want announcements. Uh, we'll do this. Okay. Yeah, no, I really should have had this up. Okay. Mega T Memorial. Let's search for Nerfa. I think this was an issue 27. Uh, base moved. Let's check. I know. Something went really slow. But trust me, this is not as slow as it's going to be. Okay, context, trainers, transits. Brokers, contacts, special contacts. Uh, Fate Weaver. Okay, we're looking for Arbiter Lupin. Okay, he has been moved somewhere near the AE building. Here he is. Lupin has been moved from in front of the Noodle House over here to, and again, if you just click on him, there you go if you've got a respec. All right. One of the reasons why you probably don't want to do a respecification out in the open, excuse me, is kind of due to potential map disconnects, problems, timeouts. If you take a very long time doing a respecification, there's what I'm looking for. The best place to do a respecification is inside a supergroup base. And since I am in coalition and I'm not entirely sure they want to be identified, loading into my supergroup base. There we go. Okay, window, you can come back now. Here we are. And now we are inside a supergroup base. If you are inside a supergroup base, you are not in a task force. You're not in an Oro force. You can, at this point, safely, without fear of being logged out due to inactivity or taking time to look at your documentation, just do / respec. And there you go. Yeah, I know I just took forever to get here. And this actually was a topic of consideration from. Let's get up the build we're going to do first because we're going to work on the Ice Red Ice first. Excuse me. Let's get you out of the way. Let's bring you up. And we already got Radiant Aura selected, so we just need to do Chiliplay. Anyways, a player who was watching the Carnage series of videos commented that they had edited so many videos over their time that uh, the time it took to do anything, get anything, was they just couldn't stand it. It was taking forever. And the thing is, every time I did a why did I take super speed? Was I locked into super speed? Okay, yeah, I am locked into super speed for this. It was speed of sound that I had on the other one. So my options for travel were I could either drop Spirit Ward and go. Okay, I think for this one I had Spirit Ward to focus as a buff. Alright, we'll kind of keep with this plan. And we'll also go ahead and update it by putting a Celerity plus Stealth there. File save. Keep that change current. And we'll do the same thing on the other one. Celerity plus Stealth. File save. Alright. We were currently focused on this could either be Flight with Mystic Flight or Super Speed, because those were the two we were locked in right now. Without, or I could do Super Jump, and I think we just kept with Super Speed for the being able to move stealthily, or more stealthily. In this case, you're running with a team where you're going to have to be adding damage, or theoretically, the reason you're taking Ice Storm and Frost Breath is you're having to aggressively add damage to whatever else is going on. And so that's what we'll just keep running with. So super speed. Anyways, they were like just bouncing all over. They really preferred it edited, and I kind of had a gut reaction of that's missing the point of why I do these streams like this. I do them like this because when I was one of the things that inspired me to do Linux to do, well, at first Mepis guides and then Linux guides, is that a number of the guides that are available or were available lacked context. They would just show a command and then just move on. And they wouldn't show the context under what that command was done or why it was done. And personally speaking, the context is incredibly important as to why something is done. All right, EM pulse, and now we slot in our powers. Whoops. Don't go too far. Frostbite is all the way. Arctic Air is all the way. Glacier is 4. Ice Lake was, whoops, none. Jack Frost was 4. And seeing every little bit as it happens, as you see the contextual, what's going on around the player, I think helps a lot for players to have a better understanding of what is actually happening. Maybe that's just me. That's one of the things I love about cracking the cryptic is because they're doing live solves and they show each step of the process along the way. Even if you're not a Sudoku or a puzzle expert, you can at least follow along with what's going on because they are doing it step by step rather than cutting out all of the boring bits, whereas Simon's just going, I need a minute. Oh, that looks interesting. And there we go. What were we missing a slot? Hibernate was 1. Maneuvers was Spirit Ward was 3. Hasten was 2. Combat jumping's 2, stamina 2, Ian Pulse, Fallout, Choking Cloud, Lingering Radiation 2, Mutation 1, Enervating Field 2, Accelerate Metabolism 5, Radiation Infection 2, Radiant Aura all the way out, Block of Ice all the way out, Frostbite all the way out, Arctic Air. Oh, there we are. Okay, now we can go ahead and start slotting in the enhancements that I haven't used. I'm no longer using an Annihilation in here. And since this was theoretically to be scaling, yes, scaling, we have a lot of scaling. And we'll go, where's our super speed, resistance endurance, knockback reduction, accelerate metabolism, and we have knockback reduction. We'll put that on the end. Cloud Senses, we are still using Cloud Senses, and we'll put that in Fallout. Now we have our pets. And slot in our pet IOs. Alright, Kismet was on combat jumping. And we had a full spread of lockdown. We're not presently using lockdown on this build anymore. So we'll pull the lockdowns out. We have Luck of the Gamblers. We have Luck of the Gambler defense increased charge. So this needs to go on maneuvers and combat jumping. Maneuvers. And Frozen Aura. We have our Numina, which is going on Radiant Aura. We have Overwhelming Force, which is presently no longer being used in this build, so that needs to go into the tray. We have Thunder Strikes, which are not presently being used on this build, so they can go into the tray. We have more Annihilations, which are not presently being used, so they can go into the tray. We've got an Artillery, which is being used, and this is an Accuracy Damage Recharge. And we're using it on Frost Breath, Accuracy Damage Recharge, slot 3. We have full pump of Basilisk Case. Into Glacier, wait a second. I did not have the proc on Glacier, so we'll pull the proc off. And we had, actually, we weren't using the accuracy hold either, so we'll pull that off. Blessing of the Zephyr, range endurance. This was a plus, but we're going for scaling, so we'll pull that off. Celerity plus stealth. Over on the Swift. I'm sorry, not Swift. Sprint. Then we have our Cloud Senses, which are going on the Fallout. And we have Efficiency Adapter, which we are not presently using on this build, so into the tray it goes. We have an Endurance Reduction plus 5, which is definitely going into Enervating Field. We have a Gladiator's Armor proc, which is going into Frozen Armor. Put it at the end. We have a plus 5 jump, which is going into Hurdle. Okay, we've got Look at the Gambler Defense Endurance, which needs to go into Maneuvers and Frozen Armor. Defense Endurance, Defense Endurance Recharge. We have a Miracle proc, which is going into Health. And we have performance shifter, which is not being used. We have a preventative optimization, which is being used. We need a in-mod recharge, in-mod accuracy recharge, or in-mod endurance recharge. What are you? Endurance modification, endurance reduction. Alright, so we're not actually using you in accelerate metabolism. We have a full Ragnarok, which we are using in Ice Storm. And as you can see, I skipped the knockdown component and just went with straight all 5 and their plus 5. We've got some boosted, which we need in Hasten, Recharge. Was I using Recharge any place else? On Ice Slick. Had one. And nothing else. Alright. Let's move you over into the tray. We're no longer using a straight 5 endurance reduction. We are going to be needing that speed for stealth. Our resistance defense is going into frozen armor. And now we have tempered readiness, which we are using in lingering radiation. We need accuracy slow and endurance recharge slow. Accuracy slow and endurance recharge slow. Next one in, we are not using Thunderstrike in this build, so into tray it goes. We're no longer using Undermine Defense. We are not using Winter's Gift, so into tray you go. We are using ATOs on this build in Frostbite and Choking Cloud, so our Superior and Tome can go into the tray. And now we have our controller ATOs. We're using Overpowering Presence on Frostbite and Will of the Controller on Choking Cloud. Let's go find Frostbite. There you are. And slot you in. And then Choking Cloud. Slot you in. Let's see, Hibernate what was Hibernate using? Preventative Medicine proc. Alright, then we have Winter's Bite, which is going into Block of Ice. And now we can save. Yes. Okay, and now you see how our tray is, and we hit clear. Whoops. Tray clear. Clear tray. Third time was the charm. Alright, we still have some macros that are in the tray. We'll put those up on tray number 9, just to get them out of the way. And then we'll circle back around and start filling in our various powers. Block of Ice, probably into 1. Frostbite is a targeted AoE, so we'll put it into 4. Glacier is a hold, which we'll put into control for now. Jack Frost is a pet, so we'll move him over there. Arctic Air will move right there. Now we'll look at our other powers. Radiate Aura, we'll put control 1. Radiation Infection, control 2. Enervating Field, control 3. Lingering Radiation, alt 1. Mutation, we're not going to use very often, so we'll lay it down here. Choking Cloud next to our Arctic Air. Fallout, not going to be using it often. And EM Pulse, we're not going to be using often, so we'll kind of put them over here until we have a better handle on the rest of our tray. Ice Slick. We'll go ahead and tentatively put Ice Slick. We'll do it like this. Alt 3. And Alt 4 for you. kind of skip over our powers and go all the way to the bottom. Ice Storm, Frost Breath, and Frozen Armor. Alright. Ice Storm. Hasten. Fill in some more of these. Combat jumping. Let's go grab Sprint as we fill this out. Maneuvers we'll bring down. Put next to our toggles here. Gonna scooch these out and make way for Frozen Armor. Kinda need to make way for Air Sprint. I pull Sprint down. Put Frost Breath here. I'm gonna put in here. We really don't have any good attack attacks to put in there. Any buff powers, any powers we're going to use very often. We'll move Glacier. Actually, we'll move Ice Lick down. I'll move Ice Storm into Alt 4. And it's sort of like, wow, we are really just like how low are. It's still shocking sometimes just how low on damage you actually are as a controller without the pet. Okay, so Spirit Ward we'll put in at control 4 so we can just drop it on an enemy. And Lingering Radiation. No, wait, that was Fallout. Fallout we probably need to set next to Mutation. Alright. So E-Impulse. Or we'll work at Fallout, Mutation, and then E-Impulse as our control 5. Okay, we've got Maneuver set. We still need Hibernate set. We may be using Hibernate more often than we want to admit. So we'll do Hibernate and control 5. And this is actually a trick you can do to get out of the E-Impulse crash, is when E-Impulse crash hits, you should still be able to trigger Hibernate, and that does give you a quick, well, you can live until the crash wears off. So that is a potential strategy here for dealing with the crash on E-Impulse. Alright, Frozen Armor is set. We're actually going to move our pet down and move our 2 effect fields up. And I'm thinking actually moving the pet to a different, maybe to tray 7. Okay, so put the pet down and then toss. Okay, Yeah, that'll work. Because chances are, if your pet is out, that way you're putting your pet out and the spirit ward at the same time. Because if you're running by yourself, that's probably a good way to do it. Now we can work on our other powers, and I don't think. Do I still have? Nope, took it out. I got a cheat sheet around here for the tray 4, 5, 6, 7. I'll make it very quick to set these up. All right, tray 4, and we'll take this down to tray 5 for a second. And we'll kind of scroll up the field. And see, there's our containment critical damage. Uh, Sometimes we put walk into slot 6. Keep going up. We're not using any of those. And at low levels, the prestige attacks can actually help fill in. So I'd suggest going and getting those, and say like putting them on, say tray 8. And that way you just have a quick tray to go to if you're running at a low level, because you'll still have those attacks. Alright, Steam Jump. I don't really normally use Steam Jump. Haven't used Jetpack in a while. Beast Run, Ninja Run. Ninja Run I normally like put down here. Alright, we're Base Transporter. I normally put that on 4. No, I put that on 5. Base Transporter. Mission Transporter. Team Transporter. Assemble the team. Not using any of those others right now. Portable workbench normally goes on slot 6. Reveal, normally I put that on slot 4. And the idea here is that I've put quick self buffs and team buffs or team powers onto the same collection of windows. So you have your team transporter and your assemble a team right next to each other, and you've got your mission transporter and your secondary mutations are across from each other, and your mystic fortune. And this kind of works as a muscle memory triangle. And how it is, if you're moving your mouse up and you're moving your mouse down to go to powers, sometimes it's just easier to make a parabolic circle than up down. And it's like there's a little curve in there. So yes, there is some logic to the madness, even if it's still madness. All right, tray 5, I normally have inner inspiration there. And we've already set all of those. So up, return to battle is normally on tray 6, and we'll put it there. Duplicity. I've been putting the alignment power on tray 6. And then we have some of our next one we need here is Ouroboros, which generally put on 5. And we have long range teleport, which I've generally been putting here on 5. And then fast travel, which been putting up there. All right, and now we're going to do a quick swap over on tray 6, and we're going to switch our pet and our, actually we'll do a swap like that. So if the bar is down here, we on a smaller resolution screen, because you're more likely to get to the, if you're coming up here from your powers, you're more likely to get to the spirit ward first that way. And that's an inversion of how I normally do it, but that may work for this particular configuration. Okay, and then slot 7, do we have anything else that's going in? I'm kind of looking for, I don't actually have a travel power jet, so I need to go pick up some LTK 1700s. Okay, And I think that's everything that's slotted. Check our incarnate abilities. I don't actually have a lore slotted, so can't slot those yet. All right. Now let's go, even though I don't have the enhancements for it, let's go grab our dual build while we're still thinking about it. We're at 35 minutes, so still trying to keep this under an hour. All you need to know about and Shiverflomp is staying with me. And we'll go say hi. All right. Why do you, this is a question that has actually come up. Why do you always take combat jumping with a super speed power? Now, recently there's been a modification made to super speed that adds a jump boost if you've been running in a straight line strong enough. Now, what you can't see here is I'm hitting the left button as fast as I can, and I'm going to hit forward. And you can barely see I'm as soon as I land, I suddenly rapidly change directions, but there's no air control. And then if I hit combat jumping, I'm jumping forward and I hit left, or in this case right, and boom, I go right. I get air control, and I have more freedom to move about in the air, and thus can better position myself. And I move. Okay, yeah, these aren't exactly transitional physics, uh, you know, but you are able to aim better. And, if you need to role play this, that your character has some kind of air movement capability, or they've added little inertial dampers into their supergroup uniform, or their supergroup leader has provided them with the kind of technology they need to just have a little bit of air control. So if they start a jump and they're looking like they're going to land in the middle of a mob, that they don't actually land in the middle of a mob, yeah, it's you can easily, very easily, in a city full of superheroes and people who don't have powers but can use equipment that has powers built into it. Devices are a thing. Device superheroes are a thing. That is a very good way to role play why your character can do things that are inhumanly possible, even if they are a human with only devices to help them. Air control can be a thing. Uh, and I just realized you can't actually see what's happening because I still got the build window up front. Sorry. Although that may have been more interesting to look at. I just realized our tank has run out of targets. Let's go find some more targets to move her around a bit. And now we'll go ahead and talk to Arbiter Frederick and train up to a new level of power. Select to rename your active build. Now, for some reason, I'm currently on active build number 2. I am not looking forward to swapping back to build number 1. How bad of a train wreck is this gonna be? Confirmed. Switch to build number 1. Oh boy. Enhancements. Okay, apparently I was doing something with Indomitable Will and Psychic on this one. The slotting doesn't actually look very bad. So we'll do the same clear tray. Although that's not going to make much of a difference. We will need to, before we can respec, train up to a new level of power, and we'll just finish filling powers in. Without really regard as to what they are or where they go. To bring us up to 50. All right, we are at 50. Let's go respec again. Now, this time we're going to... What travel power did I have on here? Super speed. Okay. And this time, since I'm not slotting any enhancements, or at least I shouldn't be, we're just doing power selection. We'll go find the Obita, say hi, and now we'll bring up the second window. And this is what we'll be working from, our invuln side. And we'll start with block of ice. Radiant aura is already taken. Radiation infection. Accelerate metabolism. Combat jumping. Frostbite. Innervating field. Arctic air. And now we'll do experimentation. Speed of sound. And now we'll do speed. Hasten. And lingering. Did we skip something? Oh, mutation. And then lingering radiation. And then experimental injection. And now maneuvers. And then glacier. And then choking cloud. And then ice lick. Jack frost. Primal forces conserve power. Fallout. Temporary invulnerability. Energy torrent. Power boot. Well, oops. Energy torrent. E-impulse. Block of ice to 5. Frostbite to 6. Arctic air to 6. Glacier to 4. Ice lick 1. Jack frost 6. Radiant aura 6. Radiation infection 3. Accelerate metabolism 5. Innervating field 2. Mutation, whoops, none. Lingering radiation all the way out. Choking cloud all the way out. Fallout all the way out. E-impulse 2. Health 1. Stamina 1. Combat jumping 1. Speed of sound 1. Experimental injection 1. Hasten 1. Maneuvers 1, 2. Conserve power 1. Temporary invulnerability 5. Energy torrent. No, power. Somehow we went. I knew I took this out of order. Energy torrent to 6, but that's okay. And we still got 2 slots available. What did I skip over? Okay, block of ice. So block of ice was 5. Frostbite. Oh, I didn't get one on frostbite, and I missed one on Arctic air. All right, so there we go. Save. And can we put any of these enhancements in place? Probably not. We're still not using lockdown. And we are, however, using overwhelming force on energy torrent. So we can go ahead and slot that. Don't have all the ones slotted. Are we using Thunderstrike? No, we're not actually using Thunderstrike. And we're still not using Annihilation. And we are using on Glacier. What are we using on Glacier? Glacier, we're using Accuracy Recharge, Recharge Hold. Okay, what do we have here? Accuracy Hold, not using it. Not using the proc. This is still technically a scaling build, I think. So, well, I did have a +5 in there. Uh, what were our totals on? Okay, we were actually far enough over on ranged that let's take agility off for a second. Okay, with agility off, we're at 47. Okay, so we still are far enough over that at 1.25, we'll still be at range soft cap um, at low levels if the other one is scaling. So we'll go ahead and kind of plan on right now. Speed of sound will get a +5, and accelerate metabolism will just get a catalyzed version. So we can go ahead and slot our endurance recovery version into speed of sound. And we are not using any of those. Are we using preemptive optimization? I don't think so. Oh, yes, we are, and accelerate metabolism, but it's still the same three, and not that one. We are using a recharge in Ice-Lick. We're not using a full that. Are we using a tempered readiness? No, we went with pacing of the turtle for the range, so we're not using tempered readiness. We can put that in there. And we're not using a Thunderstrike. We're not using you. We're not using the Winters. And I'm pretty sure we're still not using Entome. Nope, not using Entome. And then we hit finish. All enhancements will be locked. And there we go. Clear tray. And now let's bring the build down since we don't need to see it now. And once again, we'll set our 3 here. And we'll try and set it up the same way. Block of ice, frostbite, Arctic air was over here, choking cloud was over here, ice slick was here, glacier. Alright, radiant aura, radiation infection, accelerate metabolism. No, wait, accelerate metabolism was innervating field was here. Lingering radiation, choking cloud was already placed. Fallout at the bottom, EM pulse at the top. We may have had scroll all the way down. Power boost we'll actually put here. Energy torrent will run here. Temporary vulnerability will run here. Conserve power. Fallout, conserve power. There's a slot up. Maneuvers down here is defense. Hasten. Hasten was where we had. Actually, we'll do it like that. Speed of sound here. Experimental injection. Actually, we'll do experimental injection. Same kind of thing we did last time. Combat jumping here. Sprint. And we still have 3, 4, 5, 6. Whoa. Okay. Portable workbench. And didn't use jump on. Did use ninja run. Probably don't need those right now. Walk for thematic purposes. Rolling up and assemble a team on slot 4, team transporter, mission transporter, base transporter, portable workbench. We already slotted portable workbench. Reveal was on 4. Secondary mutation. Mystic Fortune. Inner Inspiration. Return to Battle. Duplicity. Mission Tele Ouroboros, which is going on 5. Now we'll actually move that back up there. Long range teleport here. Fast travel here. And this of all of those. Now we need to place the pet. So block of ice. Ice Slick, Frostbite. Energy Torrent. Fallout. Conserve power. Oh, we're missing mutation. Fallout, mutate, conserve power, EM pulse. So now our 2 recharges are right next to each other. And there we go. We've got, I think, everything slotted. Lingering radiation, control 4, control 2, 3, control 4 to do our debuffs. Fallout, then mutate a fallen enemy or fallen foe, excuse me. Well, depending on who you're playing with, they might be your enemies. And that's how you set up a dual build. And again, same thing with speed of sound. You don't have any air control. Whenever you jump is wherever you are going. And I'm about to change this up because I really like having the teleport on control 4. So lingering, we're actually going to swap and put lingering radiation on. Now, I think like that may be the easiest way to do this. Okay. And Frostbite doesn't have an anti-knockback, but that's okay. All right. I think... Actually, what thing is, I want to keep Conserve Power close for EM Pulse, because if you trigger EM Pulse, you're probably shortly going to have to trigger Conserve Power. And what I'm thinking about maybe is I want my 3 team buffs or team recoveries. Fallout for a team dead, mutation to res a teammate, radiant aura to heal. And I think Fallout, and maybe since I'll probably be going support incarnate, support underneath conserve power. And I think that's how this will finally work out. We are at 53 minutes, so we're getting close to that self-imposed hour-long time. As very quickly how you set up a dual build, slotting, going through the respec process, how you can do the respec, where you can do the respec at, hopefully a brief explanation of why it's a good idea to probably do your respecification inside of your base. And we'll do one other thing that you may want to do is name your power sets. Rename current build, and we'll rename this one Primal. And we'll talk to this guy again, train up to a new level of power, select or rename your active build, and we want to change to build 2. And now we'll talk to this guy one more time, and select or rename your active build, rename current build, and we'll do this one Ice. And now, whenever we go to change the build, we'll see that slot 1 is ice, and slot 2 is ice, and slot 1 is primal. And there we go. Hopefully, this has been a useful instruction, barring the many detours that are involved in a live stream. And if you've been watching along, thank you.